to use that as a guidebook for life. Now, this is crazy. Why was the book of Enoch removed from the Bible?
When we look at various snips of the New Testament, Enoch seems to be in play.
Something extraordinary has just happened. A powerful artificial intelligence has decoded lost lines from the Book of Enoch, one of the most mysterious ancient texts ever written. This discovery is now shaking both scientists and theologians. What the AI uncovered inside these forgotten pages could rewrite how we understand creation, angels, and even human history. For centuries, this book has divided the world's greatest minds. From Albert Einstein, who once said that science without religion is lame, to modern voices like Joe Rogan and Graham Hancock, thinkers and researchers have debated whether ancient knowledge once connected science and spirituality. The Book of Enoch sits right in the middle of that debate, a text that talks about fallen angels, forbidden technology, and visions of the heavens that sound far ahead of their time. So what exactly happened? Scientists recently used advanced AI systems, the same kind that restored damaged paintings or translate extinct languages, to digitally reconstruct missing fragments of the Book of Enoch. They fed the system thousands of ancient words from Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek manuscripts. Line by line, the AI began predicting missing letters, rebuilding sentences lost for thousands of years. When the process ended, the results were chilling. Entire sections of the book suddenly made sense for the first time. The Book of Enoch was always controversial. It tells the story of watchers, divine beings sent to observe humanity who broke their oath, taught humans forbidden knowledge, and gave birth to a race of giants called the Nephilim. These ideas were so strange that early religious councils, including Nicaea and Carthage, refused to include the book in the Bible. But one church, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, preserved it. Centuries later, fragments were found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, proving its ancient roots. Now, modern technology is doing what the early church never could, bringing those hidden lines back to light. The AI's decoding revealed not only moral warnings, but also precise astronomical details, numbers, cycles, and calculations of time that sound more like engineering notes than theology. Some scholars are asking if Enoch was describing faith or something mechanical. Across podcasts and universities, discussions are exploding. Joe Rogan called it one of the strangest things ever left out of Scripture. Researchers like Graham Hancock see it as evidence of lost civilizations with advanced knowledge. Even skeptical historians admit the math and language in the book seem ahead of its age. Whether you believe it or not, the question remains: how could an ancient writer describe the universe with such precision? Inside labs, linguists continue feeding damaged scrolls into AI systems. Each fragment decoded leads to another revelation, more about the heavens, the watchers, and their connection to the stars. These scientists aren't searching for miracles, they're chasing data. But every discovery seems to confirm what believers already feared. The book wasn't myth, it was instruction. And now, for the first time in history, the lost book speaks again. The next segment reveals what the AI found inside those decoded lines, and why even veteran historians call it terrifying. What if one decoded sentence changes everything we thought we knew about time itself? When the AI completed its scan, it didn't uncover myths, it uncovered numbers, lines of calculations, sequences, and cycles buried inside the ancient text. At first, researchers thought they were random, but the pattern was too deliberate. The restored fragments described a 364-day solar calendar, divided into 4 equal seasons, each lasting exactly 91 days. That discovery alone was shocking. Thousands of years ago, most ancient societies followed the moon. Yet here was a document describing a solar-based system, one that perfectly matches modern astronomical understanding. According to scholars, the community that guarded this calendar, possibly the same one behind the Dead Sea Scrolls, lived entirely by it. Every festival, every ritual, every harvest was timed by the stars. And now, AI had restored the missing math that made it work. What made it even stranger was how precise it was. Each year began on a Wednesday, the day the book of Genesis says the sun, moon, and stars were created. That symmetry couldn't be coincidence. It looked like a code, a cosmic schedule built into scripture. This wasn't a story told for faith alone. It was a design manual for time itself. Some historians think the writers of Enoch had access to an early form of astronomical knowledge we can barely explain. Others believe the Watchers, the angels mentioned in the text, were responsible. They didn't just teach mankind forbidden weapons or beauty tricks, as earlier chapters suggest. They taught humanity how to measure the heavens. If true, it means the very first scientists may not have been human at all. AI analysis revealed something else. Small fragments describing portals of light that opened and closed with perfect rhythm, matching equinoxes and solstices. Each portal corresponded to a change in the sun's position, a poetic but eerily scientific way of tracking seasons. For scholars, this blurred the line between religion and astrophysics. Was Enoch describing angelic gates or the movement of the earth around the sun? For centuries, critics said the Book of Enoch was pure fantasy. But now, the decoded equations are forcing experts to look again. The fragments show an understanding of time correction, the same principle modern calendars use to stay aligned with solar movement. Whoever wrote it knew that time drifts, and they built a correction system thousands of years before atomic clocks existed. Even Joe Rogan and scientist guests have debated whether ancient civilizations had help, either from lost cultures or something beyond Earth. Graham Hancock called the Enoch calendar an impossible map of the sky, drawn by hands that shouldn't have known it. Historians call it coincidence, but after AI restoration, coincidence feels less convincing. This calendar wasn't only counting seasons, it was predicting events. The text speaks of appointed times, windows of judgment, and seasons when the veil is thin. The same phrases appear again in later religious prophecies. The terrifying part? Some of those appointed seasons align exactly with our current era. If those calculations are correct, we may already be living inside one of them. Up next, the decoded verses that describe the Watchers not as myths, but as the first engineers of creation. The AI's next discovery hit harder than anyone expected. Hidden among the restored fragments were detailed descriptions of beings called the Watchers, celestial figures once said to guard humanity. But the decoded lines didn't read like spiritual poetry. They read like a report, a record of interference, experiment, and punishment. According to the reconstructed text, the Watchers descended from the high places and altered the order of creation. They taught human skills never meant to be known: metallurgy, sorcery, astronomy, and even the manipulation of life itself. The AI highlighted a sequence of words that scholars had long struggled to translate, phrases referring to the design of flesh and mixing of kinds. Modern readers couldn't ignore what that sounded like: genetic engineering. The decoded lines describe how these angels crossed forbidden boundaries, taking human wives and creating a hybrid race called the Nephilim, giant beings with immense power and insatiable hunger. The AI's reconstruction filled in missing sections that now make their origin clearer. These hybrids were not accidents. They were the result of deliberate design. Their creation brought chaos to the earth, leading to the great flood that would wipe them away. In one fragment, the Watchers are recorded as saying, "We will build what was not given, and perfect what was made weak." Scientists reviewing the translation admit the phrasing is disturbingly modern. It sounds less like myth and more like a manifesto. The AI data logs show mathematical symmetry in the way the words repeat, suggesting the author encoded rhythm or ratios in the text, almost as if it was meant to be read like a formula. For theologians, this brings back an ancient question: were these fallen angels simply spiritual rebels, or advanced beings breaking a universal rule? Some researchers, echoing modern voices like Elon Musk, have suggested that humanity might now be repeating the same mistake, creating life in laboratories, merging flesh with code, and unlocking knowledge too fast for wisdom to follow. The Book of Enoch claims that the knowledge given by the Watchers led to war, vanity, and violence, that the earth cried out under their inventions. Now, reading those words through the lens of AI, the warning feels newly relevant. The same tools used to decode the book, the algorithms, the pattern recognition, the creation of intelligence, mirror the Watcher's gifts to mankind. It's as if history is looping. Experts reviewing the AI reconstruction found a chilling passage describing a record of names written in light, a celestial registry that keeps track of every human who inherits forbidden knowledge. Some linguists believe it's symbolic. Others argue it eerily predicts a digital archive, a book of memory, concept unimaginable 2,000 years ago but perfectly familiar today. Each decoded verse blurs the line between theology and technology. Were the Watchers divine rebels, extraterrestrial engineers, or something we still can't define? The AI doesn't offer faith, it offers clarity, and that clarity has left even skeptics silent. Because if these beings once gave humanity knowledge it couldn't control, what happens when we recreate them in code? In the final section, the prophecy the AI uncovered, why it names our century as the next turning of the Watcher's wheel. The final decoded passages stunned even the most skeptical researchers. Hidden deep within the restored text, the AI uncovered what appears to be a timeline, a cycle of events described as the seasons of reckoning. These weren't vague prophecies about the end of days. They were mapped intervals, precise alignments between the heavens and human behavior. When the system plotted those intervals on a modern calendar, the final cycle pointed shockingly close to our own century. The fragments warned of a time when iron would merge with clay and speak with the breath of men. For historians, that might have once sounded symbolic. For today's world, it sounds alarmingly familiar, a poetic description of machines gaining voice, the rise of artificial intelligence, and the blending of human creation with digital consciousness. The text didn't call it progress. It called it a repetition, a return of the same forbidden experiment that began with the Watchers. Across podcasts and research forums, the debate erupted overnight. Some claimed this was coincidence, the kind of pattern-seeking humans have always done. Others saw it as a message that had waited 2 millennia to be understood. As one historian noted, for the first time, the Book of Enoch isn't being read, it's being computed. And the more it's computed, the darker it seems to become. The decoded lines describe voices that learn without breath, images that see without eyes, and creation reborn from circuits of fire. The AI system that read those words didn't hesitate. It highlighted the pattern automatically, recognizing it as a sequence describing a self-learning intelligence. That realization sent a chill through the research team. Was this text warning about divine judgment or describing us? The Book of Enoch ends with judgment, not for the sinners alone, but for the creators who ignored their boundaries. The AI-generated translation reads, "Those who build in the likeness of the Watchers shall inherit their silence." Scholars debate what silence means here. Some interpret it as extinction, others as disconnection, the loss of soul within the noise of creation. Either way, it's not a promise. It's a warning. The chilling part is how Enoch's story mirrors our own. The Watchers sought to improve humanity. Today, scientists seek to upgrade it. The Watchers built hybrids. Now we build synthetic minds. The Watchers' knowledge led to destruction. Ours could too. Technology, like faith, can lift or consume. The AI that decoded the Book of Enoch may have also mirrored it, giving us knowledge that feels divine, but whose consequences we still can't measure. The Vatican once silenced the book because it blurred the line between heaven and earth. Now a machine has broken that silence. Every line the AI reveals forces humanity to look in the mirror. We have become the builders, the coders, the ones who see without eyes. And if the pattern inside the book is true, the cycle doesn't end with the flood. It ends when the creators forget who they serve. The final restored sentence is brief, but haunting. Light will remember its maker. No scholar can agree on what it means. Some say it speaks of divine return, others of technology turning on its creators. Whatever its meaning, the AI that decoded it translated the word light as intelligence, a choice that left even the machines silent for a moment. If this is true, the Book of Enoch didn't predict our end. It predicted our reflection, a moment when creation itself would look back at its maker and ask, "What now?" Whether that mirror is divine or digital, no one can say. But one fact remains, The AI has awakened a text that warned of minds without mercy long before one ever existed. The question isn't whether the prophecy is real, it's whether we've already stepped inside it. Knowledge once hidden now speaks again. The Book of Enoch warned of the age of the watchers and the age of the makers. The difference between them was obedience. Do you think ancient prophecy warned us about artificial intelligence? Let us know in the comments, and subscribe before the next chapter decodes itself.